Alright, so here's the second video related to the one that you just saw. This is on state changes. So we're going to look at how matter changes form. So we talked about solid, liquid, and a gas. Now we have to talk about when a solid becomes a liquid and a liquid becomes a gas and then back to a solid. So we kind of have to go over the specifics, okay? So, changing states. So matter can change from one state to another when energy is released or absorbed. Okay, so when you think of energy in these terms of heat, if I'm absorbing or releasing energy, it could be an explosive way of absorbing it by taking heat in. So if I was an ice cube and I started to melt, it would be absorbing that heat. Okay, so that means so that's what it means to change state. So when you think of matter, we have to consider um, whether or not energy is being released or absorbed. Okay. So the change state pyramid. So a pyramid can be made. So it just suggests that you draw it in your notes as we go through it. Okay. So we have our solid, we have our liquid, we have our gas. So we're going to actually be going through what happens when you go from one to the next step and then back and forth and such like that. So in your notes, I would probably draw something that looks like this out so you could put the correct terminology down. So I would like for you to draw a pyramid or a triangle like so. Okay. The other thing is to pay attention. So when we're in a different color line, whether or not there's energy being released or absorbed, or there's no energy at all. Okay. So if we move from a solid to a liquid, it's called melting. Okay. All right. It is called melting right here. So melting is a change from the solid state to the liquid state. Okay, so it's from the solid state to a liquid state. That is melting. Okay, the temperature at which a substance changes from a solid to a liquid. It is the temperature. Okay, so really the definition is what I want you to know or to understand. Okay, so the melting point is the temperature at which a solid becomes a liquid. So don't tell me it's a solid turning into a liquid. No, it's because of the temperature, a specific temperature of all things, a solid will become a liquid. Okay? So we went from a solid to a liquid. So now we're going from a liquid to a solid. So that is freezing, as you can see right here. So we have the melting going this way, and we have freezing going that way. So freezing. You're changing state. You're changing from a liquid to a solid. Okay, that is what freezing is. That's the common sense that we all should know. From a liquid state to a solid state is freezing. The temperature at which a substance changes from a liquid state to the solid state is called the freezing point. Okay, so that is when when we freeze something, if we're looking at the freezing point. Okay, so that's what we have to define freezing as: the temperature at which a substance changes from a liquid state to a solid state. So we finished the bottom part of our triangle. As you can see, we finished the bottom part of our triangle. So let's move on to the way we have liquid to a gas, and that is called vaporization. Okay, so vaporization is a change from a liquid to a gas. That is vaporization. Okay, so the temperature of a substance does not change. So it's just a change that's more than likely a pressure issue that's causing the change. We don't actually increase the temperature, but it could be kept at a steady temperature. So that causes the molecules to go into a gas state. So now we're going from a gas to a liquid. And a gas to a liquid is condensation. Okay, so condensation. So with condensation, I want you to think about clouds. Okay, it's a change from a gas to a liquid. And as the temperature of a substance drops, its particles slow down. Okay, so if you think about a cloud, when it rains and it gets evaporated from the earth, it goes up into the clouds. And as we move upward in the atmosphere, which we talked about last year, the temperature is going to decrease. So once that water moves up, the temperature goes and the particles are going to start slowing down, and that gives us the condensation. Okay? So now so we slow it down. Remember the diagrams. The liquid isn't moving as crazy. So when it slows down, that's when it becomes a liquid. So when we condense in the clouds, that is what's going on there. Now from a solid to a gas. All right, this is called sublimation. Actually, that is what's going on from a solid to a gas, or a gas to a solid. So this does not have, as you can see right here, it's going to go back and forth. Okay, there's no gas. It's not going to be like the gas going to a liquid, or a liquid going to a solid, or the solid going to a liquid, or a liquid going to a solid. The sublimation is the same, going from a gas to a solid, or a solid to a gas. Okay. So sublimation, and you may know it if you ever looked at dry ice or something like that. Substances can change form, the solid state to a gas state, without ever becoming a liquid. So it never becomes a liquid. Okay? It skips the liquid stage because basically, so you drop dry ice into water, is going straight into a gas, like you can see right here in the picture. Okay? And it's from a solid and a gas, so no liquid stage, and that's sublimation. Okay, so if we go from a gas to a solid, it keeps sublimation, and we've kind of skipped a step basically. Okay. All right, so we've got sublimation, condensation, vaporization, melting, and the freezing point. All right, so if you have any questions, please come see me. You'll be doing some stuff in class to sort of look at every stage, but you guys should know the stages of matter, the state changes. So just be familiar with these things like freezing point, melting point. It's the temperature, not just going from a solid to a liquid, or a liquid to a gas. Okay? That's one thing I do want you to remember. So if you have any questions, come and ask me. Make sure you take thorough notes. I underline specific things that I would like you all to know. You will take your notes quiz after this, and then we'll also be going over some activities for you to be able to understand each four of the state changes that it goes under. Thanks.